So we have tested the tables, we have tested the views, and now we come to the interesting part, and that's testing procedures. Well, testing procedures is demanding because we have to run those procedures and then make sure that the side effects of these procedures are exactly the same. So how do we do this? First, we'll run the same procedure in both source and target staging database in parallel, and then we'll roll back. But before we roll back, we're going to be testing that what these two procedures did to the database is exactly the same. So how do we do this? Well, first, we want to check that for correctness of the code. So if you have in-out or out parameters in procedures, we'll ensure that those parameters are returning exact same values. Then, if procedure is returning a data set, we're going to be comparing the data set is exactly the same. And if the procedure is modifying tables, we're actually going to go ahead and compare all touched tables. So let's see how that works. I'm going to go into, actually let me go to workspace because I can do this in several ways. So if I click, for example, the first procedure here, go to the tests, this procedure has no parameters. This means I can create one test only. If I try to do this twice, it's going to say test with the same details already exist because you cannot create several tests with exact same parameters or no parameters. Now, if I run this test, this procedure is returning a dataset. So we will run those two procedures and make sure that they return exact same dataset. They do, right? Okay, so let's see what else is interesting. Same thing here. So that's okay. Let's find one with a parameter. Okay, this one is interesting. So this is a procedure with one parameter called product ID. That parameter is used in procedure here, and it's being compared to P product ID. And thanks to the power of our static analysis engine, we can know that this P product ID is actually referencing a product cost history table and product ID column in the table, which means that if I want to create a test, we can create a test by having SQL Tran sample the data in that table, in that column, and create multiple tests for me, which is a spectacular feature. Okay, so let's run this test here. All of them pass. So the return dataset is correct, whether we use product ID 863, 866, 837, 884, and you can create as many such tests as you like. However, what if we are changing tables? So this procedure is not returning a dataset. Well, actually, we are going to be, again, thanks to the power of our static analysis, we're also going to be tracking all tables that this procedure is changing. So tables where we are doing inserts, updates, or deletes, or merges. And also, if we are calling other stored procedures from these stored procedures, we're going to be following that chain, call chain, and adding everything, all these procedures touch to the list of tables we want to compare. So that's how we fetch and ensure that all side effects are exactly the same. So let's try and create a test for this, and we know that production product cost history is being updated. So if you click run test, like before, for the values where we can sample the data, we do this for you automatically. And for the ones where we cannot, because, for example, start just a moment. For example, yeah, because we are just setting the values like modify date, end date. They're not being compared to anything. We are writing them, right? So we need to specify them. All right, so let's just use today's date for end date and modify date, and let's say standard cost should be 100. All right, so now I have created a test. If I click run, the test is proven to work. This is the list of parameters. So we are checking the return dataset. There's no return dataset, so nothing here. And we are also comparing the production product cost history in source and target staging right after we execute the procedure and before we roll back.